All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic X.
X Weeba.
That's right. I'm your co-host, James, aka Comics for Cheap, aka you can smell what my ass is cooking after two coffees. And I've got my other co-host with me.
Your boy Chris, aka Black Santa, aka Weenie Hunt General, aka Super Cold Water. Here, ready
Super cold water.
to go. You're gonna get that album 2022. So it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Actually, it's coming November.
Super hot fire. He's the devil. He's the antithesis of that. He's the super cold water.
That's right, man. That's right, man. That's right. So we coming. But we ain't here to talk about that. But how you doing, James? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's been a busy weekend. I'm a little tired, from all the shenanigans that happened, and I'm hanging in there. How you been?
Oh, chilling, man. Same here. Just tired from work, basically, and all the stuff that goes with that. But outside of that, man, feeling good.
Feeling
another
good.
Day, another dollar, weekend. Man.
Yeah,
it wasn't too bad. It was all right.
Good.
Could be worse. Could always be worse.
That's right. Did you have as crazy a weekend as I had?
I don't know, man. I can't wait to hear your weekend.
Yeah, so as we tried to go to two different shows this weekend, two different comic conventions. I had Justin fly in from Michigan, and my buddy Ian from Florida actually was flying up to visit his family for like the whole week or whatever. So he was like, I might as well just come along with you since you guys are going to a comic show. And I was like, sweet. So we had the hotel, we had everything, lined up. The first part of it was that, we were supposed to go to Sumter, right? And Sumter canceled. And then we changed it to Green. So there was one going on in Greenville. So it worked out where we could go to Greenville, and then and the second show was going to be up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And we go down to Greenville the night before, just so we're, cool, chill. We're thinking that this is going to be like, a big show. And we get up early. We're going to try to go and sneak in like we usually do, nice and early, so we can go raid the boxes and start making deals before the show's even started and everyone else is there. Dude, when you go into a hotel and you go downstairs for breakfast and
then you see a girl doing something crazy, right?
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, what's she doing for a chicken wing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, doing something strange for a chicken wing. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but just the breakfast area, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the show. It was that big of an area for the show. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not even messing around. No, that was the size of the show. Was a hotel lobby / dining area. And there were I think there was 6 comic vendors there that were setting up. And there was no guideline on how many people they were letting in, so they were just letting everybody in, so it was crowded, of course.
They did at least have some mask guidelines, right?
Yeah, so it's South Carolina, so they had masks guidelines or whatever, but people were lenient with how they wore the masks and stuff. Of
course,
around their chin or under their nose or whatever it happened to be. That's how they wore it. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
So there were 2 good vendors at this show, and that's pretty much that was it, dude. We were done and out of there at 11:45 in the morning.
Damn.
And that never happens. Usually we go to a show and it's huge, and we don't stay all the way till the show's done, right? Unless it's a 2-day show, and then in that case we sometimes do. But we're at least there till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon because there's just so much stuff to be there for and everything like that. No, not this time. So we left there at around 11:45, and we're like, well, now what? Yeah, so we basically ended up hitting up all the comic shops that were in the area. I think we ended up going to 3 shops, and getting a whole bunch more stuff from the shops. But see, the thing about going to shops and getting stuff is that it's not as profitable, as going to a show. Plus, you have to pay tax. Plus, you have to do like this, that, and the other. And there's no real haggling. It's just if you can find some good stuff, then you get lucky type of thing. So that was a little disappointing.
Very.
It was also, South Carolina. So we ran into a whole bunch of questionable / racist people. And
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah, that was uncomfortable enough. And I think like at one point Justin made a joke that like him and I were married or whatever. And then he was like, oh, this is South Carolina. We can't say stuff like that. Y'all will kill us.
Yeah.
And like instead of just laughing or whatever, one dude was like, yeah, they'll lynch you. And we're like,
yeah,
what?
I was wasn't playing, bro.
Whoa. Oh, that just went 0 to 100 real quick. I was
while y'all was talking, my man was reaching in his pocket, getting that phone out. Like, I think we got a couple. Oh, they playing? Okay, like, we'll see where this goes.
World Star.
That's right. Yeah, those dudes were following y'all when y'all left. Dudes like, we're gonna make sure these boys leave. What the kind up in here?
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so that was that. And we went to 3 different shops. The shops were cool. I will say this. So Justin brought like he has been practicing with a gimbal, which is like a really cool device thing that you can plug your phone in. And basically it makes like really smooth video. So you can follow people, or like it can program to like follow a specific person. So no matter where they walk or whatever, the camera will follow them. You can just walk around, and even if it's like all bumpy and stuff, when you look at the footage, the way the gimbal works is that like it evens everything and just makes it super, super smooth, which is really cool. So I will say, as far as getting some video footage, as far as YouTube or Instagram or anything like that, the video footage was really, really cool. And I can't wait to start making those videos, just kind of showing, what we were doing and showing off a little bit about the shops, because we were doing like some reviews about what we found in the shops and that kind of thing. But yeah, then we did the auction. The auction was okay. It was a profitable auction. But it's not like we walked out of there going, oh my gosh, that was the greatest of all time.
Right.
We've definitely done a lot better. And so I was, slightly freaking out. It was the first weekend where it was like, this is what I'm doing now, and this was not so good. And we like flew people in and all that stuff. So if we hadn't been as established as we are now, if this was like our first time ever trying this out or anything like that, it definitely would not have been good. But since luckily we're experienced enough, we're established enough that we were able to make the negative a positive for sure on that first day. Yeah. Then we go to the second day. It's not over yet, Chris.
Oh God.
We drive from Greenville up to Winston-Salem. Ian's sleeping in the car, Justin just kind of chilling, and just drove up there. It was a nice smooth drive. And we get to that show, which was advertised heavily as a comic book show with card vendors as well. We're like, okay, well, we get to the hotel. The hotel is bigger. That's a great first sign, right? We walk into the hotel. We go into the ball. It's in a ballroom. It's not in the kitchen area or anything like that.
Okay,
another great sign. The room is like 15 times bigger. We're like, oh, thank God. And it's all card vendors. It is all card vendors except for 2 comic vendors. 2. And one of them was at the show that we had just been to. So we were like, well, we're not going to dig through those bins because we just dug through those bins. So I ended up buying like 1 book for personal, but we didn't get anything there. Justin dug through the bins a little bit. We had like $20 left for the company or whatever. So we just bought $25 books, and he gave him $20. He took 20. But we were like, well, shit, we just drove all that way, 45 minutes out of the way for 2 comic vendors. So then we tried to go to a shop there, and that shop sucked. And so we're like, all right, that's it. We're going home. calling it a day and a weekend. Let's just go home. And we go home. We get some news about WandaVision, which I'll talk to you about in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, we chill. We wake up this morning, and Justin's flight is delayed by 5 hours. And we're like, okay. 5 hours. So we have to so we're just chilling. we ended up packing up everyone's orders that had paid, which is really, really helpful. I'm glad that he helped me out with that. We bagged and boarded a lot of stuff to make sure everything was cool with a lot of other stuff like that. And then we still had like 3 hours. We're like, what are we going to do? So I took him down to one of the antique stores that I like to go to. And we ended up digging through that and finding a whole bunch of good stuff. So we bought more today in dollar bins and stuff than we did at 2 conventions. I should air quote that, conventions, right? Because I wouldn't count it. Yeah. And so today was literally the moneymaker of the day. But yeah, so that was my weekend. It was not it was stressful for sure.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like it. That sucked. I mean, dang. Y'all didn't even get no hookers and blow to go with that. I was just like,
couldn't afford it. If we were doing a little bit better, we could have afforded the hookers and blow. I'd have had hookers right there. There's no cosplayers or anything.
So I'm saying, man,
you can find some cosplayers and stuff, like someone dressed up as Poison Ivy or Harley Quinn or something. Just go up to them and be like, "Hey, what's your story?"
That's what I'm saying, man. And you know how that can go. That could be a Harley, and you could take Harley and Poison Ivy home and have a crazy, interesting night. Hot down. Wow. But
I did. I talked to so the guy that was at both of them. His name is Chris Rigo. He's a really, really cool dude. He's
his name is Chris.
Chris, yeah. Cool. So he's cool. Cool. So he I was just talking to him. I was like, look, before I mess up and go to any more of these types of shows in the future and waste my time driving or anything like that, what's the lowdown on these shows? And he just kind of like we talked through all the shows that are coming up, and everything like that. And he told me which ones to go to, which ones to stay away from, and that was very helpful. So we are going to or Ian is still going to be in town through like next weekend or whatever. So he's actually going to come with me to Rock Hill on Saturday. So this Saturday I'm going to another show, but it's just going to be for me. Like I'm just going to go for personal stuff. And I'll bring Ian along with me. I think Alexis wants to tag along as well. So she'll come as well for this one. And so hopefully he said it's going to be about 12 vendors, all comics, nothing else, just comics. And I was like, okay, that one, we'll see what we can do with that kind of vendor and space and everything like that. Right. So hopefully that's much better.
Hopefully. I definitely hope it is, because I mean, damn, that seemed like it almost got to a point where it was somewhat of a waste of time, gas, and not that profitable. So you never want to do that. But again, it's a good thing that homie was able to hook you up with some good details to let you know, hey, this show to go to, this show to avoid. That should help you out in the future for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, hopefully that definitely was a big thing, and I thanked him very much. I was like, thank you. Oh, thank you. I needed to know what was going down.
Right. Now, there's gonna be some spoilers, of course, like we said last time. We always say it going forward. Before we get to some of that stuff, Chad Wheeler. You heard nothing about that guy, right?
No, yeah, like literally right before we hopped on live, you were saying you wanted to talk about this dude, Chad Wheeler. I'm like, who?
All right, so yeah, see, this is something that's very interesting. Keep this in mind. You heard nothing about this dude. All right, so now keep this in mind too. It was like last Saturday. This dude.
Hold on, you're freezing up. Okay, there you go. You're back. Okay.
All right, cool. This dude completely beat the crap out of his girl. I mean, he beat her. He beat her down. He beat her to the point where he dislocated her elbow. She had tons of bruising, and he choked her out 2 times. What? On the second occasion, when he choked her out, he walks back in there. She's like coming to, and his whole thing was like, "Oh, you're still alive." Not in the sense of like, "Oh my God, you're still alive," or like, "Oh, no." It's like, "Oh, I actually thought I killed you, and I'm actually shocked that you're still alive." Huh?
Okay, what? Well.
Yeah. Now keep that. You heard nothing about this, right?
No, I've definitely not heard anything about this. You said it happened this weekend?
Not
Oh,
this.
last
I'm
weekend.
sorry, last weekend, not the Saturday just passed. This happened that previous Saturday. We didn't even talk about it on Monday because it really wasn't reported until Wednesday.
Oh my gosh.
So that stuff didn't get reported until Wednesday, and the Seahawks released him, send out this crappy, to me it was like one of the most, not even like real truthful statements to me. It was just one of those generic statements where they was just like, well, we're saddened by what happened. He's no longer a member of the Seahawks and blah, blah, blah. And we feel sorry for the victim and everything, and our prayers with him. But then they quickly went into, well, we hope he gets the help that he needs. And then like the reports always kept bringing up the fact that, well, he's suffering from bipolar. He has all these different, he's suffering from bipolar or whatever, and it messes with him. And he had one of his episodes, and that's what led to it. Because what led to it wasn't even an argument of like them getting mad at each other. He had his episode, and he looked at her, and he was like, well, you need to bow down to me or whatever. What? And she said no. And then that led to him beating the crap out of her and almost killing her.
What the
My
heck?
biggest problem with that whole situation was, like you said, you didn't hear about it. I was talking to some other people who was like, I never heard about it either. But he wasn't a big time player. He was just an offensive tackle. He wasn't that big of a player. He was part of the sales, whatever. But here's the thing, and you can say, well, Ray Rice was a much bigger player. But the situation that happened with Ray Rice, it killed him, right? Like, obviously, at the end of his career, and to be fair, his career was pretty much downhill. He wasn't the running back that he was previous years. But that was one of the things where the NFL went hard as possible on this guy. And every social media was killing this dude. Every radio show was talking about just destroying this guy.
Right.
This dude does this, and it doesn't even get really reported until Wednesday?
Right.
Are you serious?
The Seahawks were just like, oh, he's no longer with us or something. Is that what he said?
He's no longer with. Yeah, they're like, he's a free agent and he's not with the team anymore. And we're saddened by what happened. And again, everybody's trying to make it's like they're somewhat taken away from the victim because everybody's bringing up the fact that, oh, well, he had his mental issues, and
sure.
we want to highlight that and this and that. Where when Ray Rice had his situation, no one even thought about looking into mental issues. When Greg Hardy had his situation, no one even thought about looking into mental issues. And I'm not trying to take away. Those guys did some horrible things, and, screw them. That was just stupid what they did, and they got what they deserved. But what I'm saying is they made sure they did everything in their power to be like, well, he has very bad mental issues he's suffering from. So, let's kind of cut him a little bit of slack in here. And I'm just like, no. What type of crap is this?
Right.
This dude should be prosecuted to whatever they can do to put this man away. And here's the key thing. He's the one who chose to stop taking his medicine. He had his medicine that kept him out of the situation, that kept him pretty much good.
With bipolar.
It is. But at the same time, I can't sit here and be like, well, give him a pass. He chose to stop taking his medicine because he had an incident like this in college, which was very rare. I don't even know if it was really reported, but then again, this is a little, I think it was like 2015, 2016, whatever. He had a situation where he had a girl in his dorm. I think she was like 20 or something, 20, 21, and she had a 7-month-old child with her. And he went ballistic. I'm not for sure what he went ballistic over, but he had one of his episodes. And he was punching holes through the walls. He was like damaging windows or whatever. They had to bring him down by the police coming in there and shooting him with beanbag guns to bring him down.
Oh my gosh!
But and he went undrafted, but he still obviously went to the NFL. And it's just like
they were like, well, that's some aggression that he's got there. We could probably direct that in the positive way. No, I'm just kidding. That's wild, man. Especially then the Seahawks didn't even want to say anything in response to the victim, for the poor girl who.
That's what I'm saying.
Who almost died, like could have very easily been killed in this situation, and they're just like, well, I hope he gets the help that he needs. But you know what? The victim, fuck her. That's
what it felt like to me, because again, they was just like, oh, we've we don't condone this or whatever, and blah blah blah. But they didn't really go into full thing. It's just like the generic, like, we feel sorry for her. We hope that her and her family get the help that they need. It's just a generic stuff. Where to me, they should have buried that dude. They should have buried him, and they should have did everything in their power to help this girl. They should have been like, yo, we're gonna help her get we're gonna pay for whatever medical bill she needs to. We're gonna do whatever we can, because this is terrible. There's no excuse for this. Yeah, but of course,
like you said, with how they reacted with Ray Rice and Ray Lewis, and and anyone else, Plexico Burris, and he shot himself.
I mean, he shot.
He was doing himself harm. He didn't even do anything to someone else.
he was the biggest danger to himself. Thank God that. What's funny about the Plex thing? I just want real quick is that this dude, like, no one even knew the gun really went off because he shot himself
in the middle of a nightclub, right?
Right, but he was technically not really around many people. He was walking up the stairs to really get to the area where I guess the VIPs was or whatever. So when he shot himself, no one really noticed it because the music was loud. Everybody, obviously the people that was next to him noticed it, but everybody else didn't notice anything. It was just like,
they're like, what? Hey, Plex, did you just shoot yourself in the foot?
Bro, I swear, I wish that I was the bodyguard who was there. I guess the security guard, I'd say, because he didn't have his own bodyguard. The security guard, and you just see this dude shoot himself, and you're just like, really, Plex? Did you just shoot yourself?
Who are you scared of in the nightclub? You're bringing a gun with the safety off into the VIP room.
Since he was a kid, he wanted to have like a gun to protect himself or whatever. So, look how that turned out for him.
He needs to dream bigger. He needs to dream of having someone with him with a gun to protect himself.
I said the same thing. I was like, man, I would always have security. If I was one of those star players, I would always have security with me, pretty much 24/7. Like, they would be around me anywhere I go.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But yeah, that's crazy with that guy, man. I can't.
It is, man. He's just a piece of garbage, and I can't believe that like it didn't even really get reported until like Wednesday. And Seattle didn't release him until it really got reported. He was released on like I think the 27th, which was Wednesday. He was already in jail, but I think he got his bail on the 26th.
Do you think Do you think they were trying to hide it, and the only reason he was released because it got reported?
I don't know. It makes me wonder, because unless I'm missing some kind of rules where they could not release him, if for whatever reason they couldn't release him, I again would have made sure as soon as I got the information, if that's that Sunday or Monday for sure, I'm sending a statement out like, yo, this dude did so. I know there's probably legal ramifications, so maybe be careful what you say, but I'm like, yeah, this guy's getting released, and what he did, we don't condone.
You would have PR and legal teams to handle that, so it's not like.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Like they would let me know everything I can and can't say, but I would definitely say something to let the people know that this guy's a monster. And I'm not trying to take away from anybody suffering from mental issues, because that's a very serious situation. But when you choose not to take your medicine, and again, I don't know how terrible that medicine is and how it makes people feel. I don't really know. But at the same time,
let's see what the problem is that, and I only know this because this is Alexis right up Alexis' alley in her field. But the problem is they feel better, right? So they feel better because they're taking the medicine, but it's almost like a haze or a groggy type state that they're in. But then since they feel better, they're like, well, I don't need the medicine because I feel better. I got this under control. So they stop taking the medicine, and then they go into their manic state. And that's kind of how that all goes down there. And again, the only reason I would know this is because Alexis this is what she has studied and is a professional at. But it's the same thing with like depression medication. They'll take depression medication for a long time, and then they're like, oh, well, I feel fine now. Like, I don't need it. And then they come off of it, and once it titrates out of their system, they crash because the reason why they felt fine is because they were taking medication that they don't realize that. So it's just it's a little vicious circle there.
It is, man. It is. Last part on it was that she kind of knew something was up because she was saying in one of the police statements that he sent her a picture of him cutting his hair completely bald. And this dude is one of those guys with long, blonde hair. So she kind of knew something was up, that this dude just sends a random picture of himself being bald. And she was like, something's not right here.
Maybe he's donating to Locks of Love.
That is not what happened. That is not what happened at all.
It was not love. It was not love.
No, it was. If that's love, I don't never want to experience that kind of love, because that was terrible, man. Like, seriously, that guy's a piece of garbage. And that was just,
definitely. That's crazy.
Just terrible, man. Ooh, so yeah, that was a terrible.
Definitely terrible.
You ready to get into the WandaVision stuff?
Yes, let's move into a happier topic. Let's go into WandaVision.
Yes.
So you got to watch WandaVision. Well, I mean, it's a happier topic than domestic violence, I would assume. But you got to watch WandaVision. You said you were going to watch the all of them and go into Friday and watch the 4th episode. So that you did watch them. Cool. And what did you think, man? What was just right off the bat? What did you think?
It's interesting. I actually like what they're doing, because usually shows like this, I'm just like, it's going to be a toss up whether I'm going to love it. It could be something like Supernatural, which I really, really loved, or it can just be something that I'm just like, I'll watch a couple episodes and then, I'm pretty much good here, or try to watch a season and go from there. But no, I really think it's going to, I really love the concept, especially when we went into the latest episode that just happened. So again, spoilers here.
Spoiler alert.
I love how they went
WandaVision.
Yes. I love how they actually went into, well, what happened to we saw the heroes, obviously, Hulk snapped his finger, everything seemed like everything was all hunky-dory. People are coming back. Things are nice. But remember, years have passed. 5 years has passed. So when there's like a doctor doing a surgery on somebody, he's just gone. That person might still be there.
That's crazy. That's the thing about, like, just that not only the people that were snapped out died, or disappeared, but like people that were rescuing people, people like maybe someone in surgery on the table, like you just said, and the doctor operating just got snapped out, and it's a whole bunch of nurses that are left or whatever, and it's just like
people flying planes, and all of a sudden the pilot is gone.
Oh man, no. Or people flying in planes and they dust out, right? And then when they come back, they're gonna come back in the same place. So then what, they just free fall and splat on the pavement, or what happens there?
That's what I'm saying. Who's gonna be able to save them on that one? Because when the hero snapped that finger and everything went back to normal, and people are just coming back.
And it seems like everyone was coming back. It seems like everyone was coming back in the same spot that they disappeared, right? Because they even showed that a little bit in Spider-Man: Far From Home, when the marching band like appeared in the middle of the basketball court, right? Which was weird that they still had their instruments. That part I will say that was stupid. But the fact that they snapped out and then came back in the same spot, so that makes you think that you're right. Anyone who was flying in the air, which is a lot of people at one time, any given time, there are like thousands of people in the air. So any of those people reappeared in the air, but there's no airplane, right? So they just reappeared up in the air, and that would suck. You're gone for 5 years, you come back and you fall to your death. Oh man.
yeah, like how terrible is that, man? Because it's like there's literally nothing you can do except be like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna die, and then you have no idea how or why this is happening.
Yeah,
it can make you think that you're just sleeping and you fell asleep on a plane ride or something, and you're just like, oh, well, this is just a dream, and when I'll wake up before I hit the ground or whatever, or something like that, and nah, you ain't waking back up.
No, you ain't waking up from that one. Yeah, he's like, they got their family on a Disney vacation cruise. You're out in the middle of the ocean. You come back and you're just drowning. No.
yes. Like we're laughing, but it's actually pretty crappy. Because what did you think of the latest episode? Because we had really a special main character in this one.
Was the best episode yet. So I think it's the one that's really bringing people back around. So a lot of people, obviously, with them when they released episode 1 and 2, and everyone, like, a lot of people didn't even make it past 1. A lot of people. And it was just like, oh, this is garbage. This is terrible. Blah blah blah. And it's a slow burn for sure. What's been going down, and so I think 4 now with all the hype, because I'm a lot more into like where everyone's at with their opinions and stuff. So all the hype and everyone like, oh man, 4 was great. 4 was great. Now a lot of people are coming back watching 1 through 4 or completing where they left off or anything like that, because they're more convinced, I guess, that, Disney does know, in fact, what they're doing with this show. And that it is a little bit more of a slow burn, which is good. You don't want to rush a story, because then it, like, for example, Game of Thrones, at the end, when the dragon lady comes back, and all of a sudden in like 2 episodes, she's crazy and just murdering everybody. And that's why everyone's like, that was the worst ending to a series of all time, right? Because
up there with the Sopranos ending, right?
Yeah, where they just shot every. Yeah, exactly, where they killed everybody. Spoilers from 20 years ago.
Spoilers though, just in case you haven't seen or plan on, you're still watching the Sopranos. Sorry.
But yeah, so if they had made her over time, like gradually more crazy, I feel like that would have been more of a like people would have been like taken to that ending a little bit better. And the same thing. So I'm glad that what they're doing here is a very slow burn of like, Wanda has snapped. She's lost her mind. She's built this reality. And you don't want to just be like, here we are, Wanda snapped. And you're like, why, how, what's going on? There's no mystery. There's no intrigue. It's just going to be like, nah. So I'm really think that it's good what they're doing here.
I agree. Cause it was really surreal when you're looking at the episode and you're seeing what's the police officer name again?
You're talking about the FBI agent?
FBI agent. Yeah. What's her name again? Starts with an M.
Wait, you talking
the girl
you mean Monica.
Monica, yeah. When you see her, wake up 5 years later, she thought she just took a nap. Like, right. It's like, oh, I just took a nap,
That her mom was in recovery and everything.
Right,
like that.
because matter of fact, her mom, if I'm not right, her mom, by that time, 5 years previously, she pretty much at that point in time was in a good spot with the cancer, where she pretty much was past it, or at least getting past it. And then it came back while obviously Monica was gone,
while she was
and
snapped,
then she died.
Yeah.
So how horrible is that to wake up? Yes,
yeah.
Like you just come back and it's just like, oh, you're happy. You're like, oh, I just had a good nap, and you're realizing a lot of things have changed. What the hell has happened? And then it's like your mom's gone.
Yeah, that was crazy. So what they just in the first like 30 seconds of this episode, so much information to take in, and it was just like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. I like the nod that they made for her being Photon, the mom, where they showed that for when she walked into the sword offices and everything. Justin is thinking a lot that Skrull, like, this is going to lead into the Secret Invasion. Well, it's going to lead into a lot, right? So he thinks also like a part of it is going to be Secret Invasion, that there are a bunch of Skrulls that have infiltrated now in Sword or Shield and everything like that. So he thinks that certain key players in this episode are Skrulls, which could be. We'll see how that happens, and then gosh, this episode, like, we went over it a little bit with on live, but just from there, right, they go to meeting with not detective, but Wu, the FBI agent. That was funny. When he takes out his business card, he does the sleight of hand card trick. I don't know if you noticed that, but what he learned from Ant-Man, that was hilarious. I like that a lot. And
I got a laugh out of that. Yeah, me too.
And then you kind of see that everything that they're sending in to and into this past this like little force field type plane that she's built for Westview is changed immediately. and everything that's entering, you now know is what's causing like the thunder or the shaking, that noise that they heard when they were trying to make that little joke when they were in the bed together. When they're like, "What's that noise outside?" It's them trying to send drones or whatever through the force field. So that's cool, and it's also a nice little thing that everything that goes in automatically changes, right? And then when it comes out, it stays the same. It stays changed, which is going to be very interesting to see what happens with Vision.
It is. It is going to be very interesting because I remember reading that there was I guess a deleted scene that involved Vision at the end that was going to be part of the credits or whatever, that involved them finding like a suit, a duffel bag or whatever with his head inside of it. And I guess that was supposed to lead up to something with WandaVision or whatever, or a big hint towards it. But they removed it.
Okay.
They removed it for because they felt it would just be better if they just ended it the way they did and didn't really have like an end scene like that. So they tuck it out. But that would have been interesting. I kind of somewhat wish they left it in, because that would have been very interesting.
So Wanda has obviously stolen Vision's body, right? Or like just, I guess it's not even really a body. It's just like this parts that were made together that Tony had built. Or no, not Tony. Ultron. Ultron had built. Ultron built it with that scientist.
Right.
And Wanda has now stolen it. How crazy was it when he came back into the house and he was dead?
That was really cool.
That
was really cool.
Like, it was one of those like horror movie almost type vibes.
Right.
Like, she just blasts Monica out of the zone. She just, destroys him, which a little interesting thing to notice. When she throws him through the house and through the fence, there's like nothing else going all the way to the where she goes out of the bubble,
right?
Even though they're supposed to be neighbors right there, even though they're supposed to be, Vision was just talking to whoever, Agnes and Herb. No, none of that exists anymore. She just, and it's just house, fence, gone, right? And then Vision comes into the house. Where's Genevieve, or whatever her name is, and what she pretends her name is, and then she's like, oh, she had to leave. But when he was dead. Oh my gosh, that was just crazy.
It was one of those things where I kind of sat there like, man, I wonder how I would react if I saw something like that in reality. I'm just like, dead.
But I just sat there and I was like, I knew it. I knew he's dead. We've been saying that he's been dead for like this whole time. There's no way that he's alive. The Mind Stone doesn't exist anymore. Thanos destroyed the stones. And then, I guess they came back, right? I guess they came back when turned them all. So I don't know. It's still like, I still don't know if he can exist or not. If with everything that's going on with Wanda, it's just, there's so much to dive into from that. But that was just so crazy to see him how he was when Thanos just took the stone out of his head.
Right. Here's the thing. How many episodes is this going to have total?
9.
9 episodes. Okay. So all right. Okay, I wasn't sure how many episodes.
No, oh my gosh, it's just that. Oh, that was just like one of the craziest things. And then here's where it breaks down. So in the comic books, the children that Wanda has are pieces of the soul of Mephisto, right? So basically, like, they're shards of Mephisto. They become the babies, Tommy and Billy, Wiccan and Speed. And when Mephisto wants to become whole again, basically Tommy and Billy are wiped from existence. And then Agatha Harkness, or Agnes is what a lot of people believe that she is, wipes Wanda's memory to ease the sadness of what had just happened, basically. And so when Wanda eventually comes back and remembers what had happened, that's what leads into House of M, right? So it's very possible that is the path that we're going down here, because it seems like all of those key elements have lined up so far. We have the twins, we have Agnes, chilling and like very scared of something or someone. She keeps referring to her husband, Ralph, who a lot of people seem to think is Mephisto.
It's very likely.
It just seems like, Wanda has possibly made a deal with the devil, man, and to get her happy little life, and that's what's gonna help bring Mephisto into the realm of of this existence and everything. And then once he's whole, he just fucking see you later to Tommy and Billy, and that could cause some craziness. Plus, there was like a small leak of like a very quick 15-second leak that happened, and basically it showed a little bit of like almost like a trailer that they are trying to release in the future possibly, but basically Vision is freaking out trying to warn people or say like these people need help. So Vision has figured out that something is wrong, because remember, every time he seems to be like something's going on here, Wanda's like, no, shut the fuck up, and like reverses time. Everything's good. And so there was that. There was Evan Peters, who played what's his name? What's her brother's name? The Quicksilver.
Quicksilver,
in Fox. So he shows up in the Quicksilver costume and says, "It's not like your dead husband can die twice," and then she blasts him or whatever. So that's like very telling. I think that I don't think it's really him. I don't think, obviously it's not, it can't be him. It's just people playing a trick on her, or her mind playing a trick on her, or something like that, because she would never attack her brother anyway, right? So
I was disappointed when he died in the movies too, though. I was like, oh, really? He's dead?
Yeah. So that's something that we're looking forward to. And then obviously they're trying to get in with Monica and Sword and everything, trying to break in and see what's going on. But yeah, I'm so excited to see this Friday what's going down.
I am too. But here's the thing. House of M is just so, it's definitely her highlight in terms of like displaying, like, you truly understanding how powerful she really is and the abilities and the things that she can do. Obviously she kind of gets nerfed later on or whatever, but understanding what she's capable of doing, that story tells everything. Spoiler again. And it makes me wonder more, how and when are we going to get the X-Men involved? Because obviously you can't tell that story without the X-Men. And then the stuff that they like, the stuff when she because her whole thing was she pretty much gave everybody the life that they really wanted. Spider-Man, it wasn't just the like mutants, it was like other people. But of course, she looked out for people. Like look at how great Magneto stuff turned out. Like he was amped, even more powerful. Did you see the Magneto tie-in for House of M? Did you ever read that?
No, I didn't read the tie-in.
So he basically runs like everything. He runs everything eventually. Because it starts off similar to how his original backstory is, except for with minor changes here and there, and he doesn't meet Charles until a much later point in time. But he's more powerful. He's capable of even more feats, and it's crazy because Magneto's already a pretty powerful guy. But he's even stronger now, and it really shows his mind and how he, I guess, the more of the military aspect and more of the like the cerebral part of him, like, really shines in that tie-in. And again, it sums up with him getting everything he wanted, where he's in charge of everything. Like, he's running America. He basically pretty much runs the planet, pretty much. Gotcha. And I love it because at the end, it's not like he realized something was up, but he was just sitting there and he's just like, man, this is it, huh? And he's like kind of a little bit down, and she walks up and she's like, well, isn't this what you always wanted? And he's like, yeah, it is. But here's the thing. That also showed in that tie-in that, and some people already knew that, but there were some people wondering, did she completely snap where she doesn't know what's going on? But in House of M, she's full. She knows everything that she's doing. And in that tie-in, it definitely shows that because someone I forgot to do the idiot who tries to kill her or whatever while she's sleeping. And she's just like, I gave you everything. I gave all of y'all everything. I've changed things for you and everybody else. And you still go down this path. Fine. And then she just wipes him from history and he's just gone. I'm just like, okay.
Speaking of wiping from history, okay, when the guy who turns into the beekeeper, right, when he goes into like the hazmat suit, goes through the sewer and then comes back up as the beekeeper, right? So when she says no, and then he's gone, he doesn't come back out of the bubble. Did she just obliterate that dude? Like, he's just nope. Because how she reversed the time in like a previous episode. Like, what is the deal there? So did she just because Monica she shoved right out of the existence, but with him it seems like she just killed him almost, because maybe we find out later that he comes back out, or like she really did reverse time where he just goes back through the sewer or whatever. But that's a question I didn't get answered. It's just, did she straight up murder this dude for breaking in with sword?
I kind of hope she did.
I think
how I want it to be the case where she flat out killed this dude flat out, because I wanted to show people just how serious she is of getting like this type of happiness she wants, what she's willing to do. Because sometimes I get tired of these heroes who are just like, oh, I can't, I will never do anything going past this, and I'm not going to kill no matter. No. Show a little more like the human side, and it's like, yeah, this is what I really want. Because a lot of people would bend that truth or bend that like way of looking at things to somewhat get a happy ending for themselves. And to show what she's willing to do, I hope she just completely just iced my man. He's just gone
out of desperation to keep this fantasy of happiness. And it would also show that everything that she's doing right now absolutely has consequences and is holding some type of impact in the outside world. So I think that would help if they're going down the House of M route, which I kind of think that they are. I kind of think now that the battle, honestly, is going to be between Wanda and Vision.
Wow, that the final episode is basically gonna be them going at each other.
I think so. I mean, because if she's building up Vision and Vision keeps trying to figure out what's going on, and in this reality, Vision has the Mind Stone, so he does have power in this, even if it's power that she gave him, or she's reflecting into him, because they've already established that she shares a very similar power wavelength as the Mind Stone, Vision. That's why she was the one who's supposed to destroy it, right? And she does have this. We've already seen that she has the gift to like make people see things, like when she got inside Tony's head and made him see the alien and everything in Age of Ultron. I don't know, man. Like it could be that Vision tries to help Sword get in, and then it's basically a battle of Wanda versus this Vision thing / Sword.
Then it comes down to what happens. Does she go crazy? And after she wipes out this Vision, does that make her go even crazier? Yeah. And then if that happens, who stops her? Does she eventually realize it that she's going too far, and then she stops herself? To me, that would, I could see that. I think that would probably be more likely the ending, where somebody eventually gets to her and says something, or even this version of Vision says something that you gotta let go, or something that makes her eventually just, okay, I'm gonna stop. But that can still eventually lead to House of M, obviously. But still, just this part of it just stopping, and then she chills out a little bit. But I don't know. I doubt it's gonna happen. I just really want something to go down where like some of the Avengers have to show up or something.
And in that little leak, well, Avengers are gonna have to. Someone definitely, if they're not leading into like mutants / X-Men, or maybe like a little hint of Fantastic Four, someone established is gonna have to show up soon.
Charles. What if Charles show up?
If
and then like
Charles shows up, I might jizz my
like
pants.
somewhat.
It might happen. I might
So,
cream my pants. I don't know.
and he basically like, you know, shuts her down.
Yeah.
And he like calms her down and he's like, all right, that's enough. Or his voice is what gets through to her. Or like she implies it where she seems like she's gonna finish the job and like basically wipe everything out or everybody around her out. And then she just stops. And then eventually when they're talking to her later on, they're just like, what happened? What made you finally stop? She's like, well, there was a voice in my head. Charles
for
something.
A second.
Oh, that would be cool.
When that voice came on the radio, like for like a little bit, I was like, is that Charles? But then I was like, yeah, for like a second, I was like, man, what if that's Charles? But then I was like, nah, I don't think they'd be able to pull that off fast enough because we haven't heard like shit about X-Men coming in. So I was like, I don't know if they would be able to get Charles in there. Because I didn't know it was Wu. I didn't know he was coming back in. But I'm glad they brought him back in because he's funny. I like that character a lot. But gosh, what was the other thing I wanted to say? As far as Wanda goes, I don't know. I'll think of it. Go ahead.
But it's just like when it comes to the Charles thing, it also comes down to one of my biggest, I guess, issues as a personal level is that what's a better marketing decision? Obviously, the better one would be to to get people even more hyped up to somewhat imply that the X-Men are going to get involved to get more eyes on it. So when they do show up, you got more people watching.
Sure.
But also part of me is like, I love the surprise of if Charles was just to show up in episode 9 or episode 8 at the end of episode 8. Maybe you do that and then you can build up episode 9 or whatever. But to have something happen, I don't know if something where somebody shows up and Wanda like shoots them or do something in episode 8 at the end. And when they go down or die or whatever, like something drops that's like an X. And it lets you understand. And they're like, well, this, they're going to be he's on his way or whatever. And then like right before he gets to say who, he gets shot or something, Wanda kills him or her. And they drop the thing that was, showing who was coming. And it was a giant X. So, the X-Men will be in episode 9. I don't know if that's the way you want to market it, but I just want it to happen, man. I just want it to happen. I want the X-Men to get involved. I mean, obviously, I want Wolverine to get involved, but there's nothing he can really do. What he's gonna do? Cut her head off? So you need somebody like a Charles or a Jean to show up and be like, "All right, we're gonna do this." I can see Jean showing up too, and she kind of chilling her out, and like, "I'm gonna take you to our leader," and then he can help you out. Or I really want Charles to be the one though. Establish him first. Just have him show up first and have him stop this incident by showing just how much of a leader Charles is and that he's able to get through her this time.
Because, I mean, I don't know if stopping the incident is in their plan, if they're going to try to lead this into Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange. Maybe Doctor Strange is the one who's going to be coming and trying to battle because it's like sorcerer against sorceress type of thing.
No, I can see that happening, yeah.
Instead,
it'll make more sense for him to show
more of him with like the spells instead of just like whatever his like loophole thing that he likes to do. Him without the stone as well would be interesting.
But here's my only thing with that is that you can do that where you have Doctor Strange show up because again it's the most logical thing to do, right? But with the X-Men thing, you can have Charles show up and stop this particular incident. Doesn't mean she doesn't go crazy later on, because you can still have her go crazy later on, leading to something with the kids or something that can lead to her, because Charles can wipe minds too if he really needed to, but something can happen that can lead to her actually initiating House of M, because you can't obviously can't just go straight into it now. You would have to do some kind of build up, and technically Doctor Strange can have tons of events and on his own that can lead to him going into multiverses and things that can happen that can lead to him doing all that other stuff. You don't need this to technically do it. Doctor Strange does all this stuff without ever mentioning another superhero in his own comics. So he can do that without that. That's why I'm like, you can still do anything you want with Strange without even introducing a single other hero, just him, because of the adventures he goes on. With this, to me at least, this is the perfect time to introduce the X-Men, and especially introducing Charles. And I think Charles should be the first person they show because of the fact that he's the leader and he's, just established again how great of a leader he is at diplomacy. And this could be that moment where he kind of talks her down for this incident. But later on, he can't control her. And you can start seeing more like moments like through different movies or different shows where she's starting to snap, but Charles still kind of reels her in. But you can see him losing that, like that leash is starting to break. And eventually, when it does break, that's when we go into House of M or some type of movie into it, and make it, and you can make that somewhat her own standalone movie, I guess, if you really wanted to. I don't know. It's so many things you can do, but I just want the X-Men, man. I just want them here, bro.
I feel you on that, and X-Men would obviously be a stronger choice than bringing Fantastic Four in, even though I know Fantastic Four is confirmed for coming into the MCU. But I mean, Wanda, her first appearance was in X-Men 4. Like, she is more of a mutant slash, part of the X-Men than anything else, Avenger or FF or anything else. She is part of the X-Men, so it would be awesome to bring the X-Men in with Charles, just like you're saying. I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off, because I know they have the rights now. They have Fox. They didn't stop that god awful Phoenix movie, which they should have. And
they really should have. Oh my god, that movie's trash.
They should have scrapped that and then just like introduce X-Men slowly but surely through what they're doing here. But yeah, oh man. Oh, the other thing, part of that leak I just remembered. They do show Billy and Tommy older. They look to be around 10-ish, 10 to 12, somewhere in that area, which means they're aging very rapidly.
Right.
Obviously, they're. I mean, the pregnancy. You saw how the pregnancy happened over the course of a day or two.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there's the babies, and now, they're 10, 12 in an episode or two, somewhere in that area. Because I don't know when if the leak is related directly to this next one that's coming out, or because it was a leak, that it's the next one that's coming out. But I mean, they're aging super, super rapidly, which is scary and terrifying for what happens if she loses them, because I guess in her head she's raising them right to this age,
right?
But that's not what's actually happening.
That's true. Oh my god, man! There's so many ways they can do this, and honestly, I felt that WandaVision would probably be one of the more interesting, but also one of the more weaker of some of the stories they're going to be telling, because I didn't think it was going to have so much action. I really didn't think from the get-go that it was going to be super action-based. I really did, like I said in the last one, I really did thought it was going to be more of a joke sitcom that turns horror, that gets more and more interesting where it goes. But now with all of this could be the most interesting one of everything they release. I mean, I honestly thought Hawkeye would probably have the most action in it because of just with the training and all that stuff. And I think you got to establish him doing something, because I'm sorry, if it's just a show where he's just teaching her things and just showing her life, I don't know how interesting that's really going to be.
Yeah, that's definitely not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that would be that interesting. So I think he would have to have a lot more scenes of him doing fighting and training and all that kind of stuff. So I expected that to be, and ain't there one also with Bucky and Falcon too, right?
Captain, Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier, yeah.
Right. So I think that's going to have a lot of action
that one just
too.
keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. We've seen like how many trailers now? It was like, come on, let's go. We know that one's going to be action packed, but
I mean, hey, we actually know the release date for
that one will be funny
Justice League.
I really like their dynamic, Falcon and Winter Soldier. It was super, super funny in Civil War, and like just everything that in Endgame as well. It was interesting. So I really like the dynamic between those two. I think that'll be a good show.
Yeah, I agree. But with the WandaVision thing, I just really hope that they don't wrap this up in such a corny way where everything just kind of works out. Again, Dragon Ball Z is the greatest anime of all time. Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT ain't that great, but you know what? It's better than everything else. That last part was a joke. Dragon Ball, the biggest issue with Dragon Ball was good. Justin, the biggest issue with Dragon Ball, you can say, is that when stuff happens, like everybody dies, planet gets blown up and everything, all this crazy shit happens, they just wish everything back with the Dragon Balls. So a lot of times it take away the dramatic thing of like, yo, Boo just blew up a planet because, you know, they used the Namekian Dragon Balls and they just wished everything back. And it's like, oh, all right. Well, you know. Mm-hmm. So I hope it don't have an ending like that where it's just like, there's no real consequence. Like I want there to be some legit consequences or something. Because even if Charles show up again, I'm saying this so many times to hope that it somehow
trying to wish it into existence.
Wish it into existence. That's right. Because hell, I kept saying so much that Edge is going to win the Royal Rumble last night, and Edge won the Royal Rumble last night. A little wrestling there. But anyway, and Bianca Belair, I was wishing her to win, and she won as well. But anyway, the point is. With this, like even if Charles show up, it can be one of those things where it gets a little bit dark, where this is somewhat of a different Charles, where the government or somebody, because you know the government's going to find some out about this in the grand scheme of things. So whoever
obviously,
they send, obviously, yeah, they're there. So yeah, so they obviously they know. So I'm just saying, like they're going to send somebody to be like completely like, all right, we're taking her in. Either we're gonna take her in and lock her away, or we're gonna kill her, whatever the case may be. And Charles can be like, nah, she's coming with me. Like she's with the X-Men and or whatever the case may be. She's not gonna be anyone else's problem. She's just gonna be with us, and we're gonna help her the way we need to. And that can build some tension too. And then that can start making things go into the situation where, you know, somebody might show up and be like, they got people like Wanda there, so obviously this Charles guy is powerful enough to stop her or at least calm her down. Maybe we need to look into some Sentinels. I don't know. Maybe we need to do something.
Hey,
maybe we need to do something. It can just start building up like different plot points that can be used in X-Men movies or in you know, other people movies or whatever the case may be, or shows or whatever they're gonna do.
FBI definitely. So the FBI is there with Wu, right? So government definitely knows. Yeah. So I am with you. I think at some point, I mean, since Sword is not getting it done, or I guess Sword might be a part of, you know, whatever, like their operation through a government team as well, since, you know, SHIELD was kind of that way in the MCU. So if they got Sword's not handling it, they might return to like kind of the Sokovian Accords and try to control superheroes to go through. But it would be interesting if they try to do like a Sentinel or something to get in there and take her out. I think that would be an interesting thing to see them try to attempt. But I guess we will have to see. I know we're rolling up on an hour here, and there's so much good stuff to talk about.
I know, man.
We may have to save it till next week.
I know, man. Woo! That went by so quick too.
I know, right? But yeah, so we do have a lot more to talk about for next week, and of course, we'll continue watching the show. Chris and I will definitely start reading some more comics or whatever, and we'll be able to talk about like just random comics. Maybe we should revisit House of M. I know I really want to revisit House of M.
Maybe we should do like a legit review on that, like really go back and definitely bigger plot points. Because oh my god, and again, some of the tie-ins I gotta let you look into, like because the Spider-Man tie-in is really cool too. I think you would like that one. Just like some of the other stuff that happened to other people that wasn't just the X-Men when she was going through her, you know, moments, her anger, her vengeance. That stuff can be really, oh my god, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's something that we'll have to look into a little bit. Then we can do a little bit of comparison more to the show too. So I think that's a good idea. But for now, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us, watching, everything like that. And from Chris and I, we will see you on next Monday at 7:00.
We sure will, man. And at the end of the day, gotta always hit them with fuck the Fantastic Four.